Welcome everybody to the 2025 Action for ME AGM. For those who don't know me, I'm Roger Siddle, I'm Chair of Trustees. It's my job today to host the meeting. By its nature, the AGM covers the timeframe April 24 to March 25, and so we're primarily going to be discussing things that happened at least 6 months ago. However, there have also been some pretty notable things in our world that have happened since then. It would be remiss if we did not touch on them as well. So you will hear today, you may have read about in the annual report, you'll hear about the many things we have worked on, with a focus on action and impact being at the heart of everything we do, because change will not just happen. So you will hear about our areas of direct support, helping people today with information and support. And my colleagues have continued to support growing numbers of people affected by ME through complex issues this year. We also provide healthcare services directly to those who need it. Our healthcare services are progressing well, though not without their challenges, but we have provided holistic support through over 2,500 consultations between April 24 and March 2025. We also work for long-term change, and we have been seeking to accelerate breakthrough research. Throughout 24-25, we continued our work on Decode ME, with partners at the University of Edinburgh and a committed group of people with lived experience, which culminated in a significant moment last month when the initial genetic results were announced. Now, although that announcement is strictly speaking outside the AGM period, it would be remiss not to highlight the impact that the Decode ME initial results have had. Identifying that genetic variations contribute to everyone's risk of developing ME, the team have discovered 8 places in our genomes where people with ME have genetic differences more often than the general population. A remarkable step forward and hopefully a base to work for significant future research to take place on. During the year, we also continued our work on the Low-COMI study. We led and launched a new partnership, Sequence ME and Long COVID, with Edinburgh University and Oxford Nanopore Technologies, which will fundraise for and deliver a whole genome sequence study. And we also led the work to secure funding for an MRC strategic partnership grant, PRIME. As part of our focus on long-term change, we're also lobbying hard as a voice of the community with key decision makers. And we finally saw the National Delivery Plan for ME/CFS launched in July this year, which was the result of collaboration across the field, but including significant input from us. An important milestone, although not without its flaws, and an area that we will still be working on going forwards. And with our colleagues at Connect PA, we delivered a programme of public affairs work which included growing our parliamentary champions who will help ensure a continued focus on ME in Parliament. So my colleagues will share more about the impact we've had, and you can find out more about the annual report. And additionally, I should note that we've also launched a new website with updated branding to make access to our information and resources easier. Thank you to the hundreds of children and adults with ME and other stakeholders for your help in helping us get there. Some words about the meeting today. Holding our AGM online means it's accessible to many more people. You will, however, need to forgive us if we have a few glitches today. The team have been badly hit by illness. We hope we've got the right cover in place, and we hope all will go smoothly, but if not, please bear with us. The meeting is being recorded so that those unable to attend can watch later through our YouTube channel. And links will be available via our website and social media next week, but only those presenting will be visible in film. There will be an opportunity to ask questions of our panelists. You can ask a question at any time using the Q&A function to type your question, but we will take questions at the end of all the presentations. As ever, we'll endeavour to answer all your questions, but if we hit time constraints, we may need to follow up after the meeting. So welcome to trustees. Welcome to people watching now. Welcome to people watching later. We will take minutes of the meeting from the recording. They'll be taken by one of my colleagues. And I must record apologies for absence from trustees Sue Hardy, David Lee, Nirmala Santipillai, Jeff Banks, Eleanor Bulmer, and Julianne Devine. But I can confirm the meeting is quorate. On to the business of the meeting. The minutes of the last meeting have been circulated to all registered participants with their joining instructions. It's a long time ago, I know, but are there any matters of accuracy or amendments required that anyone can recall or wish to raise? I will pause for a moment and look to Sonia to tell me if anything is coming in. For the minutes, I should add Eleanor Bulmer is actually here, so we will draw that apology. But we will now formally resolve that the presented draft minutes are an accurate record of the meeting held in October 2024. Some trustee matters. We have two trustees where we have to formally acknowledge their resignations. One trustee who is standing down after 9 years with us, having served 2 3-year terms plus an exceptional third term. And we want to say our thanks to Sue Hardy. Sue agreed to stay an exceptional third term to assist with the merger with ME Trust. She's brought significant medical knowledge to aid the merger and support our healthcare services since its launch. But over her time with us, she's assisted enormously with our fundraising efforts, contacting our donors during big gives, supporting the team in calling to thank our supporters, and adding a personal touch. And we thank Sue enormously for all that she has given over her time with us. We also say goodbye to Rollo Hope. Rollo resigned in February 2025 after joining us with the ME Trust 3.5 years earlier. And Rollo played a crucial part in helping merge the two organisations together and launching our healthcare services. Rollo, unfortunately, has had to step down due to pressure of work, but we also thank him for everything he helped us do. We have some new appointments to announce. At last year's AGM, we welcome Ros Boyle, who brings extensive charity and fundraising experience in managerial roles. Ros has a good breadth of experience across various areas, including finance, policy, and governance. But last year, Ros had only recently been recruited and therefore was subject to the standard voting procedures by our supporting members this year. And I'll come on to those votes in a second. But in December 2024, we also welcomed Wendy Lippman, who joined us to strengthen our policy and government expertise on the board. Wendy has significant experience as a civil servant and in the NHS adult and social care sector, and has personal insight into ME and has already made a very valued contribution. And finally, we were also joined by Colin Morgan in July 25. Colin brings governance and leadership experience and also has personal insight into ME. Colin served as a lay member on our policy and communications subcommittee to the board for a year before joining us as a trustee. As Colin has only recently joined, he'll be subject to standing voting procedures in advance of next year's AGM. So the results of the postal online ballot for Ros and Wendy are as follows. For Ros, 30 votes yes, no votes against, 4 no preference. For Wendy, 30 votes yes, no votes against, 4 no preference. And so I confirm Ros and Wendy's appointment to the board. We have 3 trustees standing for a second 3-year term. Nirmala Santikalai, who also chairs our research committee, and Julianne Devine and Philip Courtney, who joined after we merged with the ME Trust and are entering their second 3-year term with us. The results of the postal online ballot for them are as follows. For Nirmala, 27 yes, 1 no, 6 no preference. For Julianne, 30 yes, none against, 3 no preference. And for Philip, 29 for, no votes against, 5 no preference. So I therefore confirm the reappointment of Nirmala, Julianne, and Philip to the board. There is one final trustee reappointment, which would not be appropriate for me to cover, and so I will hand over to Sonia for that one.
Thanks, Roger. So this is for Roger Siddle, who is joining us for a 3rd exceptional term, and clearly it wouldn't be appropriate for him to share his own results. So the results of the vote are 26 yes, 1 no, and 7 no preference. So we can confirm Roger for a 3rd exceptional term and to continue as chair as voted by the trustees. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. And I should say I'm absolutely delighted to do so. So now, on to the meat, if so to speak. On to progress against the 4 strategic objectives that we have achieved over the past year. We're about to show pre-recorded presentations against those, showing the progress against those 4 objectives, which will be presented by the leads for each of them. Sonia, however, will present healthcare services in lieu of our new clinical lead. And with luck, the technical system will mean that the film can play now.
Sonia, there's no sound for me.
Claire, can you switched a button when you were doing it. It was playing perfectly. Sorry, everybody. We've tried and tested this several times and it played perfectly. Where do I need to go, Claire, to sort this? You're on mute.
Sorry, when you go to share,
Yeah.
there's an option on the right-hand side to play sound, a little tick box.
It's not actually letting me click it.
Go to advanced.
There we go. It's let me do it now.
Great.
Okay, we will.
Last year, the team helps people work through the challenges they are facing, provides resources, and can support people to access other services, including our own advocacy, family support, and healthcare services, along with our online forums and workshops for young people and adults with ME. On average, across our support services, 89% of people said they felt more confident communicating with professionals as a result of contacting us. 97% agreed they had increased understanding of their rights and options, and 98% said they were satisfied or very satisfied with the support they received from us. We also set out to increase our reach to underserved communities with a specific focus on people from Black and other minority ethnic groups and those with more severe ME. Last year, we worked with the ME Association and the 25% ME group to produce a guide for people staying in hospital.
Sorry, everybody. I'm going to try sharing it again. We're having a technical glitch. My internet is unstable, so I don't think the slides are sharing. So I'm going to try sharing again. Claire, can you stay on and tell me whether you can see and hear?
Of course. With those more severely affected in mind. And as part of the World ME Alliance, we launched a new resource for clinicians supporting people with severe and very severe ME, designed to support self-advocacy and guide healthcare professionals towards safer, more appropriate care. On the slide, you can see Nola Yiso, one of our interaction contributors who describes the stigma she experiences as a Black woman and as a person with severe ME. Last year, we undertook work on a pilot project with non-white communities in East London, but could not secure funding to take this forward. We know that we, along with NHS services for ME, have much more to do to improve equity of access for Black and other minority ethnic groups. None of the work we do in support services would be possible without our amazing volunteers of all ages, who work with us to produce Interaction and Cheers magazines, deliver mindfulness workshops for adults, guide our services for young people, facilitate workshops for young people, ensure all our young members get a handwritten birthday card, and moderate our Young People's Forum that Bella here is a member of. Last year, more than 100 children and young people like Bella took part in craft activities, games and discussions at our Breaking Isolation workshops, just one of the services we offered to address the isolation and loneliness of people with ME. We upgraded our ME Friends online forum with input from our forum users, and along with our Interaction magazine, this helps adults access valuable peer support and understanding. As one forum user commented recently, "I've always found the people on here to be kind and supportive, plus they're the only ones I know who really understand the difficulties of living with ME." This graph shows the outcome of training we delivered to a school in Kent in March, and as you can see, the teaching and support staff found it really helpful. We got similar positive feedback from Cornwall Council, where we led training in April, and we hope to reproduce this with the London Council later this month, all part of our ambition to address ignorance and stigma by providing resources to people with ME and professionals. Funded by the Scottish Government, our Learn About ME project supported health professionals to better understand how to diagnose and support people with ME. When this project ended in March, Learn About ME podcasts have been downloaded more than 1,600 times, and our webinars viewed more than 2,350 times, accompanying Dr. Nina Muirhead's CPD accredited module on ME and long COVID.
Our healthcare service is a holistic service for children and adults with ME and their carers. Our team includes doctors, physios, counsellors, and chaplains who offer multi-faith spiritual support. The team provides tailored, person-centred care and support where specialist care is often absent elsewhere. In 2024 to 2025, we provided over 2,500 consultations, and over half of these were to people who had severe or very severe ME. We provided 128 bursaries to improve access to our healthcare services. People like Rowan, shown on the slide, provided substantial feedback about the impact of our healthcare services, demonstrating both the need and the value of our team's support. However, we know we have more to do to evidence the difference our service makes, and we will build on our annual patient survey to gather more robust data during this coming year. On the 1st of April 2024, we launched our new free young people's counselling services for those aged 13 to 18 years. We developed this service in partnership with children and young people themselves, who provided lots of ideas and guidance through our young people's steering group. We recruited two experienced young people's counsellors who provided an impactful service to 51 young people during the year. In March 2025, with the help of additional funding, we were able to expand this service to include 12 to 13-year-olds, and we recruited another counsellor to support this expansion. Overall, we provided 468 counselling sessions over the year, and as you can see from the feedback on the slide, the service is very much valued and has a huge impact for the young people that use it. During the year, we also sought to increase access to our doctor's service. We recruited an additional doctor during the year and in total provided 111 consultations. Whilst this was lower than we'd hoped due to the recruitment timescales and various absences, we have been able to reduce the waiting list over this financial year. We've continued to work collaboratively with Forward ME on a range of areas, including on healthcare and the implementation of the clinical guideline, the NICE guideline, which was reviewed in 2021. Additionally, as Josh will highlight shortly, we provided significant input to the delivery groups supporting the work of the government's delivery plan on ME, continually highlighting the lack of implementation of the NICE guideline across NHS services. We've input the voices and experiences from people using our healthcare services to support this work and our wider policy, press and media work. Organisationally, we ensure that all of our healthcare services are compliant with the NICE guideline and have continued to raise awareness and understanding with other health professionals, as Claire has already outlined.
Hi everyone, my name is Daphne and I'm the Research Manager at Action for ME. To drive forward ME biomedical research, Action for ME set out, in its strategy, to provide support to early career researchers. In the past financial year, we have continued funding the research of Dr. Audrey Ryback. Audrey holds the first Claire Francis postdoctoral fellowship awarded by Action for ME and is affiliated with the Genetic Centre of Excellence and based at the University of Edinburgh. Her 2-year fellowship, supervised by Professor Chris Ponting, has helped get a better understanding of the role of blood in ME, as well as the risk factors that are linked to developing ME when looking at the general population. You can find out more about some of these recent findings on our social media platforms and through our recent webinars. Elsewhere, and in line with our objectives to co-deliver genetic studies, we continued our work on Decode ME and other genetics projects. We focus on genetics research because finding genes that make someone more likely to get ME can help point to the root causes and biological mechanisms of ME. Decode ME was the world's largest study of ME-CFS, Action for ME worked with people with ME and their carers who gave up their precious energy to make sure that lived experience shaped every step and decision of the project. As Andy very rightly put it, without the community, we could not have achieved all that we have. The initial findings were released in August and were historic. They identified 8 genetic variations significantly associated with ME/CFS, giving a very strong basis for further research to advance our understanding of the illness. Action for ME led a communications and media plan that helped share the results widely with the community, various media outlets, and also with researchers. We have also partnered on the Leukomy project with the biotech company Precision Life. Precision Life are using Decode ME data and employing a specific AI technique to look at different subgroups of people with ME, how this might link to people's genetics, and also how this might connect with long COVID. We have made sure that people with personal experience of ME were in ongoing dialogue with the Leukomy partners, and that key updates were shared with the community on a regular basis. The project finishes in November 2025, and we will keep you updated on the final results. ME research faces major challenges because there is limited funding, too few researchers, and this also makes it more difficult for there to be adequate coordination among the research community. That's why Action for ME is dedicated to speeding up progress by creating new collaborations and making it easier for everyone working on ME to join forces. In the past year, we were very happy to launch the Sequence ME and Long COVID Partnership Project with Oxford Nanopore, the University of Edinburgh, and the European Bioinformatics Institute. This is the urgent next step needed after Decode ME, using whole genome sequencing to more precisely identify key genes involved in ME and long COVID. We have been working hard on a plan to fundraise and build partnerships so we can secure the 20 million needed to make this study a reality. Our partnerships work has also included setting up the board of the Genetic Centre of Excellence. This is a group that brings together people with ME, the advocates and research experts, and you can find out more on the new website, megenetics.org. The Genetic Centre of Excellence Partnership Board helped shape a funding bid to the Medical Research Council. This project is called PRIME, and its primary aim is for researchers to work together to create at least 15 new collaborations. The project also includes the aim of creating international research networks and building a major public and patient involvement program. It will begin in October 2025. Finally, last year, we were happy to convene 27 international experts in Windsor. This helped us build new collaborations with people who were still new to the ME field. And the attendees confirmed their commitment to work together across ME and long COVID research in the future, and including providing support to some of our ongoing initiatives, such as the Sequence ME and long COVID study.
My name is Liz Riley, and I'm the Director of Operations with Action for ME. I'm standing in today to give the update for our Head of Policy and Comms, Josh Vince, as unfortunately Josh can't be with us today. Throughout 2024-25, we continued to call on the government for the release and implementation of the final delivery plan on ME/CFS, utilising our parliamentary champions, the APPG on ME, and our press and media contacts. Now in 2025, and following numerous delays, the plan has finally been published. As we have already set out, it is important to mark the plan's publication as an important step towards recognising the scale and seriousness of ME, and we would like to thank everyone who has worked to develop the plan, including the thousands of people from the ME community who inputted into the wider consultation. However, we also remain very clear that the plan fails to address many of the concerns raised throughout the plan's development, and as such will not create the real positive change that people affected by ME so desperately need. Moving forwards, we will continue to work with the DHSC and other government departments to the Task and Finish Group and our wider public affairs work to ensure that the plan delivers the level of change for the ME community that it set out to create. 2024-25 saw the release of the DWP's Health and Disability Green Paper, which gathered evidence from organisations, charities and the general public on the current state of disability benefits. Recognising the inaccessibility of the DWP survey, we developed our own accessible version of the survey to enable people with ME to feed into the consultation whilst being able to better manage their time and energy. We collated and analysed the responses, which then fed directly into our organisational response to the Green Paper, which outlined our serious concerns regarding multiple aspects of disability benefits. We also engaged with campaigns from other disability charities, such as signing and sharing Scope's open letter to the Chancellor and petition against benefit cuts. We are continuing to advocate for people affected by ME by fighting against the government's welfare reforms, which followed last year's Green Paper in 2025, utilising our parliamentary champions and feeding into the TIMS review, scheduled to conclude in autumn 2026. We know that real change at policy level isn't just going to happen. That's why we've continued our work to work hard at growing our Parliamentary Champions Network, a group of MPs who have pledged to support our work and their constituents with and affected by ME. They do this in a number of ways, including tabling written and oral questions, tabling and supporting debates on ME, and supporting our press and media work. During 2024-25, 4 new MPs joined the network, and we are now nearing having 20 champions signed up. As we move into 25-26, we are working to grow this number even further, ensuring cross-party support for the ME community. We also directly supported MPs, including our champions, in writing questions to be tabled, ensuring that ME is kept on the government's agenda through formal responses recorded in the Hansard. Furthermore, we continue to meet with new MPs throughout the year, sharing the stories of those who we supported to demonstrate the devastating impact ME can have on someone's life and the lives of their friends and family. 2024-25 also saw a change in government, which led to the APG on ME needing to be reconstituted after the previous chair, Carol Monaghan, lost her seat. We worked to develop support for the APPG, securing the required number of members and helping to elect a new chair, Joe Platt. Since its reconstitution, the APPG has held a number of meetings and set its preliminary objectives for the following 12 months, which include the relaunch and completion of the severe ME inquiry and engaging with the DHSC and other government departments to ensure the full implementation of the final delivery plan.
Hello, I'm Ruth Richardson, the Director of Fundraising and Development here at Action for ME.
The total raised through fundraising activities last year was just over £1.1 million. As ever, the majority of our financial support came from the ME community themselves, including donations, philanthropic gifts, membership payments, and trading income from our raffles and lottery. Together, this accounts for over 50% of our fundraising income, and we are incredibly grateful for the ongoing support of the community. These gifts enable us to continue our frontline services for people affected by ME, alongside investing in research projects and amplifying the voice and experience of people with ME through our policy work. We are also grateful to the trusts and foundations who have supported us this year and contributed over £250,000, mostly towards our support services. Our incredible community fundraisers raised nearly £100,000 through runs, cycles, bake sales, hikes, and many, many more activities. Many who fundraise for us do so in honour of a loved one with ME, and we are so grateful for all that they do for us. Our largest fundraising activity of the year is our annual Big Give Christmas Challenge. Last year was our 8th time taking part, and we were delighted to be approached by Big Give during the application stage to increase our target from the usual £100,000 available to charities as a result of our previous successful campaigns. We launched the campaign in December with an increased target of £200,000, and were absolutely delighted to not only meet this, but significantly exceed it, raising over £276,000, including gift aid, from over 450 donors. Thank you to everyone who took part in and shared the campaign and helped to make it our most successful Big Give ever. The money raised helped us to deliver the activities listed on the left hand of the slide, including funding a new UK-wide medical student essay competition that will launch very soon. It also provided income towards our support services, bursaries for people accessing our healthcare services, and to support our network of future researchers. We know that in order to continue to deliver our much-needed services for people affected by ME and create change for the future, we must remain ambitious when it comes to our fundraising activities and explore new avenues for income generation. Our fundraising strategy sets out a roadmap for achieving this, and activities this financial year and beyond include setting up a fundraising advisory committee, including representation from members of the ME community. This committee will oversee the delivery of our fundraising strategy, acting as a critical friend to our plans for increasing income and also leveraging in new opportunities by opening up our fundraising networks. In June this year, we piloted a summer appeal that raised over £21,000 towards our work. We will now aim to increase the number of appeals that we run following the success of this campaign. We will continue to improve our communication with existing supporters and also reach new supporters through digital fundraising opportunities. And we know that to continue delivering our vital services, investing in more research and amplifying the voices of people through our policy work, we must improve our income year on year. This is against a backdrop of rising organisational costs and the trend of declining numbers of donors across all charities. We are therefore extremely grateful for the continued support of all our donors and supporters, and hope you continue with us on our journey to improve the lives of anyone affected by ME.
Thank you to those who took part. I hope that people found that useful and instructive. I'm now going to hand over to Jonathan Manuel, our Treasurer, for the Treasurer's Report for 24-25.
Thanks, Roger. Just wait for the... Okay, thank you. Oh, we have a few lines covering the report, so you may have to guess some numbers on this basis. Let's just wait a moment. Okay, well, I'll talk to you. You can actually see everything so far on this one. We've got a little block in the way, so apologies for that. What I'm going to do is just give a very brief overview of the financial performance of Action for ME until the 31st of March for the year, the 31st of March 2025. So you can see from the table, a very quick overview, is that our income actually declined year on year from 1.7 million to 1.4 million. And there are two key drivers of this decline. One is that in the previous financial year, we had a fundraising dinner, which raised a significant amount of income, which we don't run every year, for obvious reasons. But it did make a big impact on the previous year. And the second driver of this decline is that actually in the previous financial year, we booked a 3-year grant, a multi-year grant. And charity accounting obliges us to book a grant in full, even though you then spend against that grant over the life of the grant. So it does tend to skew the numbers somewhat, as obviously the income went into the year to 31st March 24, but expenditure carries on over the next, in the financial year just gone and also ongoing. So overall income declined, but we made a conscious decision to maintain our expenditure You'll have heard in some of the previous films about what we spent our money on, particularly which we'll come on to in a moment in terms of showing that expenditure. But we just, as you can see here, the expenditure in the year to 31st March 25 is pretty much the same as the previous year. Unfortunately, what that does mean is that we had a deficit in the year of 2025. And clearly that's something we look at, and I'll come back to in just a moment, but that's you can see there are 0.4 million deficit due to ultimately that reduction in income year on year. If we want to move to the next slide, please. There you go. It's a trade-off, the block versus the slide. Okay, so again, you've heard quite a lot about the income already from Ruth and the sort of fantastic work that's done through fundraising and all the support that you and many others have given us to raise income in the financial year. You can see from the blocks here, it's pretty obvious the donations and appeals, and Ruth has already referenced the success of Big Give, which is included in that block. But you can also see that we still have a significant level of income from trusts and companies. Just the trust environment is very, very challenging. I think Ruth would say that the trusts that are there are giving less, and there are more applicants, and therefore you can see that it's much harder. Oh, sorry, if we go back one. Sorry, if we're just stay on the income just for a moment. Thank you. So the trust, which is just blocked out by if you've got the same screen as me, you can see it there. Trust income 241 is less than trust and company income is less than last year due to the very, very compassionate environment. And thanks to Big Give, we're able to offset that to a degree. You can see healthcare income also come in slightly more than last year. But down the bottom there, events and trading would have been a bigger block last year due to the dinner that I referenced previously. So again, donations and appeals, the money and other areas, the money that come in. Legacies is slightly reduced. Legacies by its nature is a kind of one-off activity. And while we do get notification, clearly those come through as and when. So legacies also reduced year on year. But donations and appeals, key drivers, and Ruth has referenced some of the big events that happened and some of the big drivers in fundraising. So if you want to move on to expenditure, please. Just pending a moment. Here we go. So as we can see from our expenditure, nearly 50%, 48% to be precise, of our expenditure goes on information support services. And that's a kind of catch-all for all of our frontline services, including healthcare. Also worth referencing that we have increased our research expenditure versus previous year. You'll see in the annual report a bit more detail on that, in terms of versus the restated prior year. It's almost a 50% increase in the research expenditure. And we continue clearly in terms of investing in fundraising and investing in campaigning and influencing. But as the graph shows, a significant block of our expenditure is invested into frontline services. If we could move on from this one, please. So finally, from me, cash and reserves. Cash is a lifeblood of a charity. You might hear lots of stuff about reserves and P&Ls or I&Es and all sorts of things, but ultimately you've got to have cash to survive. And the important thing to note for Action for ME is that we are in a secure position. We hold 600,000, 0.6 million, or we held 0.6 million at the end of March 2025. The cash fluctuates, as you can imagine, in common with many charities. A lot of income comes in towards the Christmas period, particularly the timing of Big Give. That's why it was important that what Ruth referenced in terms of the summer appeal and the success of that appeal and helping us to smooth income a little bit better. So it does go up and down, but at the moment we have a secure cash position. Clearly, and we do this see on a monthly basis, and sometimes more frequently than that. Oh, sorry, if we come back one slide, there's someone who doesn't want me to talk anymore, but I'll just waffle on a little bit longer. Sorry. Here we are. So it's really important. We do maintain very close focus on our cash position. Alongside that, it is really important for a charity to maintain adequate reserves, and particularly, and that's unrestricted reserves. And just to say, our unrestricted reserves at 31st of March 2025 were 0.4 million. And this is within our policy of holding no less than 3 times our monthly expenditure costs, operating costs, and no more than 6 times unrestricted operating costs. The Charity Commission is slightly vague on what must and must not be held, and it's really an important judgment that the trustees make in terms of where we should be in order to maintain the ongoing operation of the charity, and clearly that's an important conversation that we have with our auditors every year to make sure that not only do we look back, but we look forward in terms of our overall projected position on both cash and reserves. And with that in mind, as you saw from the previous slide, we made a significant deficit in the financial year just gone. And it's important that this year we are focusing and certainly on getting that more in line in terms of our income and expenditure, so that ongoing we are able to maintain, we are able to continue to invest, but also to maintain the financial health of Action for ME. Thank you. Back to you, Roger.
Thank you, Jonathan. Just a couple of things. One, an apology for the online glitches. I did warn in advance. We've had some unfortunate last-minute sickness issues to manage. Thank you to Claire in particular for stepping in to try and keep this moving through, but it has led to some challenges for us. And then secondly, I should also note I've been passed word that Sue Hardy has been able to join us for the meeting, so we'll record that in the meetings, and that's great work with Sue. One final financial matter is we need to approve the appointment of Moore as independent auditors of the charity and authorising the Board of Trustees of the charity to fix the remuneration of the auditors. Again, I'll pause for a second. So that as approved, and hand over to Sonia for the Chief Executive's forward view.
Thanks, Roger. We'll just wait a moment for the slides to come up.
With me, it's being a bit slow. Can you see that now?
It's coming. There's always a bit of a lag.
There we go.
Okay, so if you can move to the next slide. Thanks, Claire. So I'm going to start by saying a little bit about information support and advocacy. But what I always do when I come to the forward look is to look back at what we said we would do last year and where we are in relationship to that. I'm also conscious that colleagues have touched on some of these things in their previous, in their earlier presentation. So as Claire outlined, we deliver valued services to children and adults with ME, their families, and professionals working with them. And I can honestly say our services are in really high demand. But at the same time, we also want to increase access to our services, particularly for those who are underserved, including those from non-white communities. And as Claire said, we have had some challenges around that, but we are also thinking creatively about how we address those challenges. We've also continued to see a number of people with long COVID who have ME-like symptoms, who may or may not yet have a diagnosis of ME, using and valuing our services. And each year, there are tough decisions that we need to make about how we balance our limited resources and our capacity, and that is a very live, active discussion that happens at board level, but also within the staff team. And we have to understand where we allocate those resources across each of the 4 pillars of our work. But we remain heavily committed to our support services so that we can be there when people need us. And that includes continually reviewing our ability to respond to calls as they come in, rather than having people to call back, because we know that that's frustrating for some people who have limited energy. We're also keen that our breaking isolation workshops for children and young people continue. They've paused at the moment pending a funding application outcome, and we're hoping that that will come soon. If we're not successful with that, we will then have to think about what we do instead. And as Claire said, we've been reviewing access for other areas, other groups of people that are not yet using our services. We're continuing to improve the data and evidence we collect to demonstrate the difference that we're making through providing support services. And we're going to build on the training pilots that Claire mentioned earlier too. In terms of healthcare services, very similarly with support services, we want to increase our reach as much as possible. But we do have waiting lists at the moment, and we're very conscious of that, and we understand that that can be frustrating for some. Our current waiting list is 6 to 8 months to see the doctors. As our services are subsidised, recruiting more people in to deliver these services is dependent on the budget. And as Jonathan just said, we are sort of having to balance that continually. We are reviewing our provision at the moment in healthcare services. We're looking at our pricing, we're looking at our bursary offer, and we're looking at what more we might be able to provide, not just in this financial year, but in the future financial years. While the feedback we've received through our annual patient survey indicates the differences that the services make, we are continuing to work on what data we collect, and we're doing some work with our practitioners and consultants to better collate data during the year so that we can see on an ongoing basis the impact that we're having, but also to make continuous improvement where that's needed. One of the things to highlight in terms of healthcare services is that we are committed to doing more in terms of the involvement of people with lived experience. So I just want to highlight that over 50% of our board have direct experience of ME through themselves or a close family member. Additionally, we have board subcommittees, and on those subcommittees, alongside trustees, we have a number of people with lived experience, and they bring huge insight and scrutiny to the work that we do, and we really value the representation and input that they give. We've got lots of lived experience across other areas of work in our research and in support services, but within healthcare services, we recognise that we can do more. So that's something that we're going to be focusing on, alongside increasing the income and also the strategy in terms of what we're going to deliver in the future, not just for the next 6 months of this financial year, but what will healthcare services look like beyond that. In terms of research, whilst we were really delighted, and I can't say we were beyond delighted to release the initial genetic analysis from Decode ME, we have got more to do, and Daphne outlined some of that. So we're working really hard with the no-cost extension to complete all the analyses we set out to publish, and we're looking to do that over the next 6+ months, and that includes the second questionnaire data that some of you on the call may well have completed, as well as the genetic data. And we want to ensure the long-term future of the Decode ME cohort, and we're exploring options for that on a very regular basis. Myself, Chris, Andy, and others in the team are exploring what we can do to keep the Decode cohort going, and ideally to be able to build on it. But we are ensuring access for bona fide researchers to anonymised data from Decode ME as we speak, and that's really pleasing to see. Daphne's touched on the work that we've got ahead of us in terms of Prime, which will launch in October, and then we will have the results from the Low-COMI study that Daphne also talked about. Daphne's mentioned Sequence ME and Long COVID, which will be the largest long-read genetic study of its kind if we can secure funding. So a lot of work is going into that at the moment, and I do want to acknowledge the effort that our volunteers, Olivia and Ash, have put into supporting the work with that. And we're actually exploring strategic partnerships to identify the £20 million that we need for all aspects of the study. And that sounds a lot, so we are breaking that down into phases, and We're in discussion with a couple of organisations at the moment about funding for phase 1, which will help us mobilise the project. We'll have some dedicated time and investment to secure further partnerships that will hopefully then enable the funding to be put in place. And our aim is to undertake a whole genome sequence on 9,000 ME samples from Decode ME and recruit enough samples to do whole genome sequencing on another 9,000 long COVID samples. And then the other thing that we will be launching fairly soon is our big survey. Some of you will remember over the last couple of decades, we've launched the survey results where we have the experiences and the voices of people with ME who tell us what's going on for them, what service access is like, and what they want to see change going forwards. Most of it we know, but it is very, very valuable evidence that we use in our press, our media work, and also the work with politicians. And we will be sharing more information about that in due course. In terms of our policy, parliamentary, comms, media work, with the support of Connect PA, which is our commissioned agency supporting our public affairs and media work, we will be continuing to input into the work related to the cross-government delivery plan on ME/CFS, and we are waiting for further information to come through, but we understand that the Task and Finish group will be stood up, and that group will be overseeing the progress, and the Department of Health and Social Care are looking at all of the actions and ensuring that there are implementation plans for all of those. So we will continue to work as part of the group to support that. In terms of the all-party parliamentary group on ME, the APPG, there's lots of work that we're working on at the moment. We have the Severe ME inquiry. There's work going on to feed into the oversight of the delivery plan, and that will continue. And the APPG will be holding its AGM in the coming months to look at the work for the forthcoming year. We've already heard about the Parliamentary Champions Network, and we will continue to increase the number and the breadth of the work that our champions do and demonstrate the impact that they have. And in terms of our press and media engagement, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to the large number of people that have stepped forward and worked with us to provide media case studies for the large number of requests that we have had from both the press and the media. It is really important that the voices and experiences of people with ME hit the news in one way or another, because that helps redress the stigma, it helps raise understanding, and it helps drive the influencing work. So thank you to those that have come forward. If you do participate in the big survey, you will be able to indicate whether you want to participate as a media case study going forwards, and we will continue to build on the opportunities and create new ones that we have done with the relationships that we've got with quite a significant number of journalists now. And then finally, we're often asked, how can we get involved? How can we support? Obviously, there are a number of different ways, and you can see those there. Ruth and Jonathan have talked about the importance of income, but we do get a lot back from the time that people give as volunteers, from our trustees and from others. There will be opportunities coming up in terms of patient and public involvement, or PPI, within the research studies and in other areas of our work. And there's lots that you can do and already do in terms of raising awareness and understanding. Just to highlight that if you want to stay up to date with our work and the impact that we're having, please sign up to our newsletter. You can find out quite a lot of information there, and when we launch the recruitment for the prime pool of patient public involvement participants, information will be on there. And then just to finish off by saying that collaboration is one of our core values. We always seek to avoid duplication unless it's necessary, and sometimes that is the case. We continue to reach out and collaborate with other ME charities and other organisations, and we are committed to doing more in terms of communicating within our community. So that's something that remains at the heart of all the work that we'll be doing over the forthcoming year.
Thank you, Sonia. I think we're a little ahead of time, but only fractionally. I think it's time to move on to questions if we can.
Okay, so thank you to people that have put questions into the Q&A. I will come to those. I'm just going to start, and excuse me, I'm just reading them on my slide to the right here, or my right. We've got a couple of questions that have come through in advance of the meeting. So the first one is the CMRC or Merck. So that was the UK Research Collaborative, two different names as it evolved. Is the CMRC or Merck expected to reconvene? So I'm not sure is the answer on that. What I can say is there is quite a significant group of us, larger than the CMRC group, that have been working together to call for a strategic approach to research. We have written letters to senior decision makers, we've had various meetings, we've established a campaign. That group is meeting again fairly soon, and we will be discussing what our next steps are. So I'm not sure where things sit with that particular UK Research Collaborative, but I do anticipate that there will be further communication coming out of the group that we are working with at the moment. There's a question around whether the charity has any plans to fight the government's decision to stop COVID boosters for chronically ill people under 75. We aren't currently working on that. We have very limited capacity. We have a few days of Josh's time as the head of policy and comms, a little bit of public affairs time and a tiny bit of my time. And we have to make really tough decisions about what we're going to work on and what we're not. And the things that we have talked to you about today are the areas that we have focused on, and our big call and investment of time is around the strategic approach to research. We've had 3 questions, 2 from Colin and 1 from David, all asking the same thing, asking who is eligible to vote on the motions and how many are there today, please. So as we have said repeatedly, our memorandum of understanding articles of association are available on the through the Charities Commission and other areas. You are able to view that. The legal accountable people for the organisation are the trustees, and we've heard about their recruitment and voting in earlier on. And therefore, they are the people who vote in motions at our AGM. We have 8 trustees who are present at the AGM, but I can say that all trustees have indicated their vote in advance of the meeting in accordance with our legal governance. So there is full support for the motions that have been passed today. We have another question here from Loyoso, who was very kindly contributed to one of the slides that Claire shared earlier on. And she asked, in a climate where increasingly care provision is relying on care providers employing carers in the UK via the care visa system, and notes there are organisational problems impacting significantly on the quality of care given. The question is, how can Action for ME give voice to what is a hidden dynamic in care provision and support people with ME who are victims or collateral and are unseen? Claire, can I come to you to give us a response to that, please?
Yes, just let me reflect on the question, because I was looking at the one from Peter that I'm about to answer as well. And I think what we're seeing is care provision is increasingly challenging. The climate is increasingly challenging, and we are, in contact with lots of social services, care providers, and the threshold for care from those care providers is getting increasingly higher, and it's a problem for us. I think it's a problem for people with lots of other illnesses as well. I know that we're part of the an alliance of illnesses, and we're seeing it across the board. So we are making sure that people are aware of their rights and ensuring that they know they have the right to ask for care, and also ensuring people have the resources they need to self-advocate. So the NICE guideline resources from us, but also other ME charities about what care for people with ME should look like. And we're always willing to work with professionals either individually or in delivering training to give real practical examples of things that they can do to better support the people with ME that they're working with.
Thank you, Claire. And I just also want to add, at the All-Party Parliamentary Group, the APPG meeting held last week, we had a number of presentations and evidence given from people with ME about their experiences, and the quality of provision of care was something that has come up. So that is something that we are actively raising within that forum as well. We recognise that there are a number of issues and challenges there. I'm now, Claire, going to come to the other question from Peter. So while counselling service is clearly very valuable to those who have used it, does such a deep service have a broad enough impact on the full breadth of the 400 plus people with ME? And if we are to support a large number of people, is there a different delivery model which can enlarge the number of people getting counselling type support? And before you answer that, I will say that question about breadth and depth exercises all of us, from board through to the staff team and those on the front line delivering the fantastic services. So it's a really good question. Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, Sonia, and thanks, Peter. It is a really good question. I think what we want to offer is a choice for people in the sort of support they want. Yes, lots of people want counselling and it is valuable, and yet it doesn't have a broad enough impact yet because we don't have the capacity and resources to do that. We would love to be able to offer it more widely. I think we're always exploring different options, and there is lots of ways that people can get support either from professionals but also peer support as well. Our forum, we have forums for adults and for young people, so that's people with ME of all ages, and the feedback we get is how valuable that is to help people feel seen and heard. I think I read out on one of the slides, someone in our adult forum said there's just nowhere else I can get this sort of support. But it's very much true that people also need professional support as well, and yeah, we're really up for exploring different models of this so we can maximise the capacity and resources that we have. One of the things that we talk about a lot in services, if the professionals working with people understood ME much better, then they would be getting support, and that's why we're keen to explore delivering training to professionals of all kinds who are supporting people with ME at every level, whether that's teachers in schools or social workers working with children or with adults.
Thanks, Claire. And just sort of I'm just going to stay with support services a moment. Following on from the social care question, would you consider creating an e-learning module for social care workers, especially those for whom English is not their first language, who don't understand ME but are willing to learn? And just before you answer, to give you a moment to think, I will just flag that there was a widely publicly available Learn About ME, All About ME module that was developed as part of the government delivery plan that is accessible, and there are a number of podcasts that we have through our Learn About ME project, which are available on the Action for ME website. So those are available there. Additionally, one of the things that we co-fund and co-chair is the World ME Alliance, and we have done a lot of work through the World ME Alliance to have a number of resources about ME that can be accessed in a whole range of different languages. So there are those resources that are available as well. They're not specifically designed for social care workers, but they will be of value to some. Claire, is there anything you'd like to add there?
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah, we're always willing to consider things if we can, so if people are showing us that there's a need for them. And I think we've had really good reception from the training that we've delivered we've done it with teachers, we've done it with council staff, specifically people who work in the kind of special educational needs area anyway, so they were already very receptive. I think as one of the questions we've already answered said, the people who provide care are under huge pressure, and there's very high levels of turnover, and I think there's something about making it easy and engaging for those people, so they understand what they can do in a really practical way to support the people that they're working with. But yeah, ideas for this are always welcome.
Thanks, Claire. We've got another question from David who says, why do members of Action for ME who pay £21 a year only get 3 magazines a year? So I'll just give an initial response, and then Ruth, just give you a moment to think whether there's anything you'd like to add. And so I can honestly say that our magazine is incredibly valued by the people that receive it. I can't tell you the number of times that I receive messages from people who describe Interaction magazine as a lifeline, and we know that that is quite a costly thing for us to produce, not only because we have to print it, but because we also need to post it. And therefore the value that we hear from people that have the Interaction magazine as a supporting member is that that is very much valued. People do not have to pay if they do not want to be a supporting member, but we also do offer the opportunity to waive the fees if people are keen to become a supporter but are not in a position to be able to pay the £21 or to make any form of contribution, because we really want to make our organisation as accessible as possible. Ruth, is there anything you'd like to add, because your team oversees the membership side of Action for ME?
Thank you, Sonia. I will just say that, yes, it's 3 series of the magazine a year. The magazine is fantastic, as you say, we get great feedback from it. One of its huge strengths is that a lot of the content comes from the ME community themselves. So I will shamelessly use this as a plug to say we are always eager to find new content contributors as well. And for those who would like to know about it as well, there is also a lifetime membership. So for one upfront cost, you can continue to receive Interaction in perpetuity.
Great, thank you, Ruth. I think that answers all the questions that we received in advance and those that have come through on the Q&A chat. So I will hand back over to you, Roger.
Thanks, Sonia. I think it's now time, therefore, to bring the meeting to a close. And I have a number of thank yous, I think I should say. So first of all, thank you to everybody who has joined us today, or those who are watching on the YouTube channel next week. We will try and clean up what video glitches we can without affecting the record of the meeting for the YouTube recording. A number of thanks to my colleagues who have worked on the AGM, both fellow panelists, but also Josh and Kate behind the scenes, and actually to my colleagues more broadly within Action for ME for the enormous work that the team and the trustees put in during the year to try to have real impact. And finally, I should thank all our donors and supporters for that support, because without them we couldn't do what we are doing. So with that, we'll bring it to a close. Thank you to all, and I hope you have a good rest of the day. Thank you.